Hi guys, Luton here, and back for some more action from my server. Here we are on Gulf of Oman. Now this is one of my favourite maps. I love Oman. I think it's a brilliant map. It plays out so well, and that's why it's appeared through the series many times. It's just a really, really excellent map. I think it plays out so well in so many different situations, and everything about it just works really, really, really great. Particularly Conquest Large. It's just a great dynamic map. There's huge open spaces, there's tight urban areas, there's room for everything and every style of gameplay, and that's why I just think it's a fantastic map. But also what I'm talking about today is an excellent loss. This covers many things, right? One of the things that it does cover is how I'm not obsessed with winning. You know, I love to win, but what I love more than that is having just a great round, just a great fight. And it also addresses, like I say, on my server the other evening, I had some people, and basically at the end of a round, we look at how the game has gone, and if it's a bit too one-sided, I will move just 2 or 3 people to the other team. Now, I make it pretty clear that if you're joining the server, okay, you've got to be okay with this, alright? Because obviously I totally understand, and I also dislike it sometimes. If I'm playing with a squad, you don't want to be picked out and grabbed and moved, you know, to the other team, you know, because you want to play with your friends, right? If you're playing on my server, okay, you've got to just expect it, because that's how I manage it. The reason I manage it in that way is because I find the best way to get a good, hard fighting, balanced server is to move just 1 or 2 people, 2 or 3 people, okay? You just look at, okay, who's doing the worst, who's being a very good constructive player, and you just shuffle them around a little bit. And actually it works great, and that's why we've had so many good games, okay? I know a lot of people think that just scrambling the teams up is a good way to go. In my experience, it doesn't work, okay? But also, I had, you know, the other evening, some people, because I was manually moving people myself, and they were like, oh, you're stacking the teams, little too. It's never true. You know, I'm interested in getting these hard-fought, great games. And this round is a good example of that, you know, because we're having a really excellent fight here, and my team doesn't win. It's a loss, you know, but it doesn't matter because we have a really, really great round. And at the end, I say, you know, it's a 400 ticket difference at the end. Sorry, a spoiler there, right there, but it's a 400 ticket difference at the end, and you see it goes very narrow. You know, it's a very close game through a lot. We're winning by 100 tickets at this point as well, so we're actually up. So we have a good start, and it comes down really tight, but then they get a little bit ahead, and we just don't have enough focus, right? But as I say, the key to it really is just that it's about getting those really interesting good games, but still at the same time, if you have too much of a ticket margin, you want to pull it back and make sure it's a little bit tighter. So at the end of the round, I'm like, hey guys, we need to move 2 or 3 people, and you will actually see in the chat that the guys in the chat are like, yep, from both sides, they're like, yeah, agree, LT, you know, get on with it. Look at this tank, oh my god, he totally nearly drove over my head. It was just excellent. There's so many rounds like, you know, at moments like this on this round where we just have these close call moments, and I've got another video coming up like probably tomorrow or very soon where we're having some more Paracel Storm scout helicopter action, and it's me, you know, in the heli, jumping out of the heli, the boats coming in. Oh, it's just so full on, and again, that's why you just get these great games at the moment. I've just been having the best games lately, apart from that night where it all went totally to shit. But other than that, it's been really, really good, you know. And as I say, it's great to see everybody else getting involved on the server, and you can see through the chat, people communicating, talking. We've had the odd random play. You could expect it. You have the odd crazies and the bad guys and the people that are just looking to dick around. But overall, the majority have been really positive. Just great people sort of fighting, playing. And you know, the most important thing that I love of all is the kind of respect between players, okay? So what I'm talking about there is people saying, hey, good shot, or whatever, right? And I do this too, you know. If somebody gets a good kill on you, you say, hey man, good shot, good play there, right? You know, because it's not all about the kind of the bragging, the trolling, the gloating. Those are the worst aspects of it. The better aspects of it are when you can appreciate how well the other team are playing or what they're doing. You know, because often at the end of a round, I will look at what's happening there and I'll say, oh, you know, okay, I can see what you guys did there. You know, good play, well done. Luton, make a video of how to give an order. Yeah, we got a 7-man squad as well. I've had plenty of 6-man squads. I've not had a 7-man squad before. I don't know how we got stuck with this. It just shows, you know, working as intended, of course. But 7-man squad, interesting play right there. But here we go. So yeah, and then of course you get the storm come in on Oman, and this is always so good. We have all the full-on dust storm come in. I thought this was actually a great Levolution. Mainly it was a great Levolution because it really nerfs the air superiority. This map often would suffer from the air superiority a little bit, and some people probably remember that from Battlefield 3 a little. The jets and the helis could often wreak havoc, and that in some ways was good, because you'd have a lot of really intense air combat, particularly between A, B, C, D, because on that kind of beachfront area there, it's nice open space for dive bombing and attacking and combat all the way through. But on the other hand, it could be a bit of a pain in the ass, and this kind of ground pounding. Not to mention the fact that, when you're actually in on the ground and you're sort of running around between bases and you're shooting and jumping around building, this kind of dust, epic driving skills, actually, super epic drive. I'll make up for it in a minute, by the way. It's just another example of how I literally am quite happy to put in gameplay of me sucking alongside gameplay of me doing quite well. So it's no problem for me whatsoever. It's fine. That's just the way it goes. It's just real gameplay, real gameplay where you're having a bit of a time and you fuck it up and it's all good. It makes me think of a cooking show I was watching the other day, and for those of you that know, it's a bit of an old school chef now, Keith Floyd, and he was making this dish or whatever, and he was in the middle of doing it, and it's he's recording, he's making it for TV, and he screwed it right up, and he was like, oh, I've ruined it, it's ruined. Oh well, it doesn't go right every single time. And I thought, wow, this guy's like a professional chef, and he's making a television program about cooking and all this sort of stuff. And then he totally screws up what it is that he's doing. And instead of redoing it, he's just like, yep, that's the way it goes. Sometimes you just totally screw it up. And I thought, wow, nobody does that now. Nobody does that in modern things. And, I think it works this way with YouTube as well. So many people are obsessed with posting perfection and everything goes right and look at how elite I am all the time. And nobody shows how it actually goes down. I think it's a real shame. Everybody picks the best of the best. And then the worst part is that then from that trend, everybody expects it. Everyone expects it. And if you don't post that kind of stuff, everyone's like, oh my god, you suck, and it's just like, oh man, seriously, and actually, it's a nice little sort of analogy from like my whole kind of philosophy for my YouTube channel. I have always been about posting just what I think is correct, and the worst thing is as well, is that I always think like, failing and screwing up, it's not the end of the world, and also it's often pretty fun, like I have loads of times where I screw up in the game and I'm like, oh no, it all went wrong, oh my god, and what's wrong with that? It's just fun times. You're just playing the game and having good stuff, it doesn't have to be that everything is like superly perfect and you dominate your enemy, you can have good fun times and still fuck up, seriously, it makes me think right back to when I was a kid and we playing the N64, anything like this, and you're playing with your friends and you're fighting hard and you're doing what you want to do, but at the same time you can have a good laugh. But I mean, check this out right here. It's hardly pro gameplay, right? Look at the helicopters coming in as well, and it's just like, oh my god, it's super full on. I remember we were talking about this afterwards. Yes, got him down. This was one of the best things. I mean, this server right now and all the kind of gameplay that we're having with it, just so full on, just like pounding and driving and smashing everything up, and it's just absolutely fantastic. But then, you've got a little bit of tactics going in as well. We sort of think about where we want to cap, where we want to move to, where are they attacking, do we need to go defend? It's all just been really good, and that's the thing. I've been having so much fun with this server, and it's been a great thing so far. It's been a really, really great thing. Everything's been running nice and smooth, and as I say, apart from like a few instances, it's all been going real great. I would totally advise you to come check it out, because you're going to find some gameplay that you just generally wouldn't find anywhere else. In fact, it's been almost too intense sometimes. We've had literally like 32 aside, everyone ultra try-harding for the objective, and it's just been too intense sometimes. Like, everyone's been going, oh my god, I can't stand up, because like everybody's just throwing themselves into it and absolutely going for the caps, going for the kills, going for moving around the bases. The jets coming in all over the place, helicopters coming down, you run around, the tank blows up. It's just absolute full on, not insanity or chaos, but just hardcore objective gameplay, just people really throwing themselves into it. And it's a great thing to see. It's an absolute shame and a tragedy that you don't see this more on other servers. I'm going to work real hard. Going into Battlefield Hardline, I 100% am going to get myself set up with a server in one way or form, because there is no way on earth that I'm playing public server game. I'm not playing pubs other than if we're just screwing around. I'm not playing that from day one. It's not going to happen. I'm getting a server. I'm going to get this kind of gameplay happening from day one, and I maybe want to start start up a whole kind of support thing for like kind of objective play. I don't know. I'm sort of expanding on this idea more and more and more because it's just so difficult to find. You just don't get this kind of gameplay anywhere else, and it's kind of like absolutely infuriating for me. But also, as I say, it's a real shame. You know, it's a real shame because, you know, obviously I've played games for a long time now. You know, really, it's actually a kind of worryingly long time. You know, it's probably pushing for like nearly 20 years now I've been playing games for, and it worries me that people are coming into, you know, games now and they will not have this experience. They won't see this kind of gameplay because it's not the kind of gameplay you generally have anymore, and it's a real, you know, that's a bad thing for everybody because and this is what I've been saying to some of the guys at EA and with Hardline, and I've been giving this feedback. Now, whether or not they take any notice of it, that's entirely up to them. But, you know, it's my opinion that basically the way we're going, if we don't start to encourage more kind of active, objective gameplay, just in public games as well. Everyone always goes, oh, well, if you want it, just go to competitive. No, it's a different thing entirely. You know, competitive is entirely different and a completely different mindset. It's not the same thing at all. What we're talking about is everybody working together as a team, fighting hard, and just getting on with it. You know, when you're playing competitive, there's a whole kind of a different tier there. It's just not the same kind of thing overall, and it's not that kind of same kind of you know, furious gameplay that you find. It's often a little bit more measured, a little bit more sort of controlled, and, you know, it's almost like risk assessment when you're playing, you know, right? But at the same time, obviously, you do have that kind of intensity as well, you know, when you need to. But the point is overall, it's not as, I don't find it's like a similar kind of gameplay, you know, it's just not there. But as I say, you know, there's that whole kind of generation of people coming in now who will not have that experience, and I actively want to encourage it and try and get people involved. Whether or not I can get some kind of thing going on with it, I don't know. But as I say, with Hardline, I really kind of... The thing with Hardline is that the actual game plays excellent. You know, the game plays really, really well. I like the changes they've made with all of the different stuff, and of course you've got the CT combined in there as well. But then, it's like, if that doesn't translate into actually how the rounds play out, and we saw this with the beta. I mean, you guys remember my feedback from the beta, the public beta, and it was just steamroll, steamroll, steamroll. Some rounds were over in minutes because teams were just not engaging and just not getting involved. And that's my concern, is that it will continue to deteriorate in that way till we get to a point where most servers are just like that. And it's a really, really bad thing. And there's no one to blame other than the community themselves and the way that people encourage those communities to behave. And that's via YouTube, social media, everything else. And also like EA and DICE and people like that. They're constantly having these competitions of, you know, who can do the most amazing shot with this, who can do this, who can do that, you know, who can crash their heli the best. And it's like, fuck's sake, you know, why don't you have some competitions for more objective gameplay? Not competitive, just who can have like the most objective squad play. You know, show, you know, your team working for the objective, you fight in, you clear out a load of guys, cap the objective, win the round on a really close margin. Why don't we see some more of that? Why don't we see some more footage of, like, you know, the rounds that I was playing where we had like a 1,000 ticket server and it came down to 2 tickets, you know? That's a fucking good game, you know? Not this bullshit of like, oh yeah, I jumped out and threw C4 on a guy. Who cares? You know, seriously. So I'm having a bit of a rant, and I'm still having a rant, and I know some people keep saying like, oh, LT, let it go. Totally not letting it go. I'm going to keep pushing this objective thing on and on and on, because it's like my kind of crusade at the moment. I've had enough, and I'm tired of the way these rants are going. And having this server has just spurred me more, because from this server I've seen exactly what I knew all along, which is that this gameplay exists, it's there, it's just that you can't bloody find it because most people just don't get involved in the right way anymore, or it's just kind of like they don't have that willpower or experience, or perhaps, you know, personal experience, you know, they don't think that that's how it should be anymore. It totally should be. But let me know your thoughts below. I mean, what do you think about this? How long have you been gaming for, and how have you experienced any changes in the way people play? Because I really believe that if you look at it, we have seen this deterioration in the way that people play. And, you know, I made note of this in Battlefield 3. I had a few videos where we discussed this kind of topic area, but it seems to have gotten worse over time. And I think there are many kind of attributing factors to that. It's never one thing, you know. Somebody actually asked me the other day what was the core reason for or the deterioration of gameplay. I said there's no one thing. You can't put your finger down and say that's the thing. Let's fix it. It's and that applies with many things. Nothing's as simple as that. Okay, it's never as black and white as that. There's always many refined things. Some of it is just time. Things change over time. There's nothing wrong with that either. Things will change, but also at the same time you have to think of kind of the long-term goal. Where are we going with this? I mean, look at Call of Duty. It's deteriorated to the point where it's just a load of crap now. It used to actually be a really, really good game. Many of us played and started, really kind of getting more heavily back into FPS. As I say, for the last 5 years before I got back into sort of playing on consoles, I'd been playing World of Warcraft, so I'd been playing heavily on the PC. Then I went back into consoles, and when I came back into consoles, I wanted to get back into FPS. I'd grown up sort of playing stuff like CS and Half-Life and all this kind of stuff, Unreal, some really great games, and I wanted to get back into FPS, have some good times with that, but rather than go down the PC route at the time because of my situation, decided to go in with the console, and then I was getting into COD 4 and all this kind of stuff, right, and Killzone, things like that. And, back then, those experiences were good. Many people forget, COD 4 public games actually used to be pretty tactical. You could have some actually unbelievably tactical rounds of COD 4 public. No trick-shotting bullshit, no quick-scoping, people with well-chosen specified loadouts, playing the objective, working really hard as a team. I remember it as clear as day. And then going into kind of, private games, we could have some really, really excellent fun time there as well. But then over time, not so much actually in COD 4, but when we're going to kind of like World at War, and then you're going back into Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 was really the tipping point right there. It really did start to become an absolute load of crap in that period of time, mainly due to hacking and all sorts of other bits and pieces. But anyway, the point is that if you don't manage something, and you don't, or at least don't make the effort to try and pull it back, rein it in, and you just let it free for all control out how it's going to go, it'll just deteriorate. And once you get to a certain point, there's no return, because things will have gotten to the point where nobody's even willing to try and turn it back anymore. And as I say, we're not there yet with Battlefield. We're not there yet. I feel with the right sort of, attitudes and encouragement and sort of advertising and kind of working towards everything and kind of encouraging the community to say like, hey, look, you can play like this. You can turn it around. I was watching this weekend, I was watching Level Battlefield, one of their tournaments for the Xbox One, and it only highlights exactly, this was meant to be a kind of, relatively competitive sort of event, okay, and the guys there were running around quick scoping. They were, I know people are going to say, oh, but that's Xbox One. It's not the point. The point is it's like an overall trend, right? And these guys were running around trick-shotting. They were playing propaganda, okay, they were playing Chainlink on propaganda, and they were just all in the middle of the map in this massive clusterfuck, just like, it was like a meat grinder, just get in, smash, 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 kill, 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 and they just, nobody was even trying the flank. They weren't going for the flank. They weren't trying to get around. They weren't trying to go for those long caps, They were literally just in the middle. It was baffling to watch. It was like one of the most unobjective, supposedly competitive things that I've seen in a long time. And as I say, it's not because of the game, it's because of the people playing the game. And again, I just want to bring you back with the last thought that I'm so happy that I have this server right now. In this server, in the last week, we have had more, we've had more high quality, intense, close rounds than I've had in the last 6 months, and everybody has pretty much agreed overall. We've just, you see people and ask people that have been playing on the server, look at the comments from my video I posted saying that the server was coming up, and everybody's just like, good experience, great experience, glad to be here, and the guys are coming back day after day in the evening time. The peak time for playing on my server is 8 PM GMT through to whatever time people stay on till. Obviously in the middle of the daytime you're never going to get so much going on, but people coming on 8 PM GMT in the evening, get on there, come and find some good objective gameplay. As I said before, they're with the server, the only thing we don't tolerate is people kind of perimeter camping, kill whoring, none of that stuff, not getting involved. Also be aware that, as I say, if you're coming on the server, you need to accept the fact that you may be balanced, okay? It's just a fact of matter with the server, alright? So if you're not happy with that and you don't want it, just don't join, right? If it's an issue for you and you're not willing to accept that, that's how we run things, it's just the way it's going to go. You may be moved to the losing team. I move myself to the losing team, sometimes when we need to pull it back again. It's just the way it is. So, thanks for watching today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts about the topics of discussion about objective gameplay, overall game quality, how long you've been playing for, and how you've seen things change. Thank you very much for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Always helps me. Share the video. I'll see you next time, guys, for some more Battlefield 4.